Greetings. My name is Amandeep Gill, and I'm the United Nations Under-Secretary General for Digital and Emerging Technologies. It's a privilege to speak to you today. The European Union continues to demonstrate leadership in the digital space, fostering a dynamic ecosystem that supports innovation and growth. One of the most notable aspects of this progress is the region's embrace of open source technologies, which have become foundational to advancing collaboration and innovation across sectors. 2025 marks an important moment for digital cooperation. This month, the United Nations established the Office for Digital and Emerging Technologies, or ODET, to address the opportunities and challenges posed by today's rapidly evolving landscape. As the UN's focal point for these technologies, ODET has a strengthened mandate to foster collaboration across the UN system and with global stakeholders to ensure that technologies advance inclusion, sustainability, and progress. A key focus for ODET is supporting the implementation of the Global Digital Compact, adopted by consensus at the Summit of the Future in September 2024. The Compact provides a comprehensive framework for the global governance of digital technologies, including artificial intelligence, and emphasizes the importance of the digital economy, data, and AI in driving social and economic progress. It specifically recognizes the transformative role of open source, digital public goods, and digital public infrastructure in enabling innovation and ensuring transparency. Implementation of the Compact will require a coordinated but distributed approach and should be multi-stakeholder in nature. Governments, the private sector, academia, the technology community, and other contributors will play essential roles. The open source community in particular has a proven track record of driving collaborative innovation and developing shared resources, making it essential to this effort. A recent example of such collaboration is the OSPOS for Good Symposium held at the United Nations headquarters last July. OSPOS for Good brought together member states, including Germany and Kenya, alongside civil society organizations such as OFE and OSPO++. Today, I am pleased to announce the release of the OSPOS for Good conference report. This report captures the key takeaways from each session of the symposium. It distills speaker insights and real-world use cases into actionable recommendations. Covering 5 thematic tracks, 3 spotlight panels, and a special presentation, the report highlights opportunities for greater cooperation between open source and initiatives advancing the Sustainable Development Goals. Looking ahead, I'm glad to share plans for this year's expanded symposium, the inaugural UN Open Source Week. This week-long event will feature diverse activities, including a full day dedicated to digital public infrastructure and an open source hackathon. During the hackathon, the open source community will be invited to address 2 UN challenges, leveraging cutting-edge technologies to develop innovative solutions. We look forward to welcoming you this summer for the UN Open Source Week. Your participation and insights will enrich the discussions and help drive meaningful progress in open source technologies and digital public infrastructure. Please stay tuned for further updates. I thank you for your attention, and I wish you a productive and engaging discussion.
Hi everyone, my name is Omar Mohsine. I work for the UN Office of Digital and Emerging Technology. As you heard, it's a new office that is born January 1st. And we're here to talk to you about 2-3 things. And first is, today is our distinct honor to release the report. He's here, so I don't know. First, let me try to ask, raise your hand if you attended OSPO for Good last year. Oh, wow. That's not bad. That's amazing. Thank you again for joining us. So I hope you enjoyed the discussion and the connections that took place there. So we're here releasing the conference report. So this report was done by 3 organizations, drafted by 3 main organizations, which are the Linux Foundation, RISE, the Research Institute of Sweden, and the University of Johannesburg, of course, supported by OFE and our teams at the UN. So OSPO for Good, for those who haven't been there last year, so it's organized by Germany and Kenya, together with the UN Office of ICT and the UN Digital and Emerging Team. So what did we try to do there is to really bring in, use the convening power of the UN and bring in government globally from not only Europe, America, but also hear from the other players we don't hear often from the global south or the global majority, but we also bring in the tech industry, the civil society, and we had very, very rich discussions throughout the 2 days. If you haven't been, you will find the highlights and most of the lessons learned and most of what was discussed over here on the report. And you can even, if this works, here we go. So you can download it. Please scan the QR code. And another thing about the conference, so the conference really was not designed by us, by UN. It was really from the open source community. So to get there, we had a program committee, which had big names from the open source community that were there. And they were the one who designed the program, who designed defined the list of speakers. So it was really from the open source to the open source. So that was what made OSPO for Good very special. Again, thanks to all our sponsors, Germany, Kenya, I see Zendis, I see Sovereign Tech Fund. It was a very collaborative effort. Jacob is now with us here today, but OSPO++ also played a big role in the presentations. I just want to give a shout out to Jacob if he's watching us remotely. But once again, please read the report. It's a very rich, every good idea, every good best practice, every good proposal that was said in the conference was captured here. Moving forward, I want to talk to you about next year. No, we're already this year, sorry. Talk to you about the plan for 25. So now, given the big success that was OSPO for Good last year, so we decided to expand the scope, and we are now making it a UN Open Source Week. So the date that we are looking at will be the week of June 16th. Please don't book your flight yet. Please, we're 90% confirmed. Not 100%, but just book your calendar. Don't book the flight yet. But as soon as we're expecting in the next week or 10 days max to save the date. And then, like last year, we're going to have a website where you could register. So now we have the list of all the people who attended last time, but you can still register, and we'd love to have more and more of you attend. It's really a global gathering where we have people from really everywhere in the world. Last year, we had very interesting discussions, including open source at the UN, where we could tell all the stories about what's happening at the UN. We had another one about open source in government, where we could hear from countries, especially from the South, how they're adopting open source. Next year, we're trying, as my Undersecretary General mentioned in the video, trying to do a hackathon. So we try to have real life two challenges given to us from 2 different parts of the UN, and have the open source community either in the room or remotely to help us work on that. So we're designing a very rich program. Please stay tuned. There will be more info coming. Moving on, I just want to take 2 seconds to talk about this thing. This has been a collaborative effort. It was several months of work. We have created a group called Open Source United. So these are all the open source of the entire UN system. So all the agencies, we are 30+ UN agencies. So we did this big collaborative effort where we designed together what are our principles. What does it mean, open source, to us? And at the start, and again, these were done taking into account everybody's views, everybody's suggestions. And these were endorsed 2 months ago by the UN Digital Technology Network, which is all the CIOs. So now those are now official. And at the start, we designed them to be only for us as UN. And the idea is every time we talk to the open source community, we want them to know what are our principles. And really here, the most important is, they're all important, all 8, but the open by default, that now we had a UN committee endorse and say that by default, whatever we do has to be open. And the second one also, we heard a lot in the first panel about open source is not free, open source is not one way. It's like now we're putting down that we have to contribute back. It's not just the one way. So all of them are really important for us, but I just highlighted these 2. My point, and why I'm talking about them and why I'm having them in the screen, is that more and more of you, when we start, first, before getting there, I just want to acknowledge OSI, Eclipse, and others that we shared them with them before they got endorsed, and they give us really good comments and help us enrich them. But now what's happening is more and more of you are finding them interesting, and now we're asking if non-UN, other entities, other players, big players in the ecosystem are interested in endorsing them. Here, really, we want to drive some kind of standards that are, again, using the convening power of the UN. We're neutral, we're not commercially driven, we're like use that UN credibility to have a set of global standards that are endorsed by the biggest number of organizations. So we're talking to government, we're talking to big players. I don't want to give any name here, but they will be the first batch of entities endorsing them will be announced in the next couple of weeks. We're talking with some big names, and then but we want more and more of you to endorse these. So this is a call, a plea for you. Take a look. There's a QR code. There's a questionnaire, and happy to engage with you further. I think that was my last slide. That was my last slide. Thank you very much.